please welcome Chancellor of the State University of New York, Christina M. Johnson.
Good morning, and thank you all for attending my third State of the University System address. A special welcome to the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York who are in attendance, including our new chair, Dr. Merrill Tisch. And trustees Dr. Gwen Kay, Ms. Christy Fogel, Ms. Eunice Lewin, Ms. Courtney Burke, and Mr. Austin Ostro. I'd also like to welcome our elected officials, including we have our comptroller, our state comptroller here, Tom DiNapoli. Our campus council members and community college trustees are also here today. And a very special thank you to Governor Andrew Cuomo and Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, the commissioners and other gubernatorial appointees, and all the state legislators for their tremendous support of the State University of New York. I'd also like to welcome our campus presidents, members of their executive leadership teams and staff, and also my executive leadership team and cabinet and staff who keep our remarkable system running. I'd also like to welcome our faculty. I consider myself a faculty member first, and of course our students. In whom we place all our hopes and are the reason we do all that we do. This past year, I finished one of my initial goals to make in-depth visits to all 64 SUNY colleges and universities, experiencing firsthand the magnificent breadth and depth of SUNY, and learning just how essential SUNY is to a healthy economy and society and to the future of New York State. SUNY was founded in 1948 because the discrimination practiced routinely by private institutions of higher education was no longer tolerable, especially after a war in which so many people of color, so many women, and so many immigrants have served so bravely at home and overseas. Thanks in large part to the doors that SUNY has thrown open, we are one of the most highly educated states in the nation today, with over half of our citizens aged 24 to 44, holding at least an associate's degree. With 1 out of 3 New York State high school graduates choosing a SUNY school, we are without a doubt the largest contributor to that educational attainment. But as we approach, yes. But as we approach SUNY's 75th anniversary in 2023, we need to offer more than access to a consistently excellent education. We need to become absolutely inclusive. Higher education needs to become universal in our state. We are rapidly arriving at a place where post-secondary education is not a nice to have. It's a requirement for anyone who hopes for a good career, and for the state that hopes to foster opportunity for all. Just consider job growth over the last 10 years. From December 2009 until December 2019, when we started to emerge from the Great Recession, the country created 18.3 net new jobs. 98% of them, or almost all of them, went to individuals with some college. And because of automation and offshoring, many of the middle-skilled jobs in factories and offices that used to offer those with just a high school degree, a ticket to the middle class, have vanished. Today's middle-skilled jobs in healthcare, IT, advanced manufacturing, renewable energy, and other fields require education and training beyond high school. So individuals without that education or training have been pushed into lower-paying, low-skilled jobs. And while educational attainment has risen, increasing the supply of college-educated workers, technology has increased the demand for them even more, driving up their salaries even higher. As a result, we live in more and more an unequal society nationally. It's a rich get richer moment. Even in terms of geography, where most of the innovative high-tech industries are increasingly concentrated in a handful of urban areas along the coast: Seattle, San Francisco, San Jose, San Diego, and Boston. In our state, as the New York City metropolitan area has largely thrived, 43 of 50 upstate counties have lost population since 2010. Nationwide, as inequality of all kinds has increased in recent decades, we've seen a corresponding rise in resentment, political division, and bigotry. We see some of this happening on our campuses too, unfortunately. For those of the disadvantaged side of the economic divide, the costs include poor health and declining life expectancies, unwinding one of the great achievements of the 20th century. Life expectancies for those with college degrees, however, have continued to rise. For both individuals and communities, higher education is the only way out of a downward spiral. Economist David Otter, one of the country's leading experts on the changes in the labor market, put it this way: sending our young Americans to college is not a panacea, but not doing so would be a disaster. The fact that SUNY is universally accessible online is so important, as is the fact that almost every single city and town in New York State is within 30 miles of a SUNY campus. SUNY is the bridge to opportunity for both people and our communities. As SUNY Cobleskill President Marian Terenzio has said so beautifully, our upstate campuses are the stewards of place. They innovate and educate within the context of their particular communities. They are the cultural and intellectual centers of their regions. They attract students of color from more diverse downstate communities, providing employers across the state with the diverse talent base they seek in order to boost productivity and innovation. Because we have such an affordable system of higher education in this state, with strong support from the governor and the legislature, New York State is ready for the revolution that is taking place in the world of work, and is offering a path to high-skilled jobs and better lives to New Yorkers of all backgrounds. And we're doing it with such a high standard of excellence that 18 of 29 state-operated campuses are ranked in the top 10% nationally for upward mobility. And that is taking students from lower income families and graduating them into high-paying jobs. On the pay scale salary ranking, SUNY Maritime College ranks an incredible 11th in the nation of all colleges and universities. SUNY is a vital force for economic development across the state, including on the regional economic development councils that Governor Cuomo created in 2011 as a vigorous answer to New York's 40-year problem of out-migration, particularly from upstate. Of the 10 regional councils, all but one are chaired by a SUNY leader. As we approach SUNY at 75, we ask ourselves, what can we do to further advance our mission of access and excellence as we work towards higher ed for all? As many of you know, my vision for SUNY includes 4 strategic themes. First, individualized learning that makes higher education absolutely inclusive, universally accessible, and of the highest possible quality for all New Yorkers. Second is innovation and entrepreneurship that energize our communities and address society's grand challenges. Third, sustainability to mitigate climate chaos and preserve our resources. And fourth, partnerships that underpin the success of all 3. We've made significant progress on these 4 themes, so I want to first share some points of pride and then consider what our accomplishments mean for the future of New York State. Let's start with individualized learning, where SUNY has really made things happen. Last year, at SOTUS 2, we launched our Student Success Initiative, SUNY Achieve, to help our students get the education they need, when they need it, and at a time and place that fits into their complex lives. We know that our students are not all equally prepared for college, and that is a challenge to our mission of offering the broadest possible access to quality higher education. Many colleges administer English and math placement tests to measure student readiness. Students who do not do well on these tests are assigned to a semester of non-credit-bearing remedial coursework, which they may have to repeat before they can even begin to earn college credits toward a degree. What a discouraging way to start college. Instead, 27 SUNY campuses have put in place co-requisite English or math programs that combine credit-bearing work with developmental instruction. We found that pass rates in these credit-bearing English classes far exceed those of standalone remedial courses. It seems as if you set an expectation for success, students will meet it. I know. So we are taking this to scale across SUNY and hope to triple the number of students in co-requisite courses by SUNY at 75. In order to give New Yorkers and all students the opportunity to pursue higher education on their own time in a way that fits into their lives and responsibilities, we have reinvented our approach to e-learning this past year as SUNY Online. We've created a single system-wide online learning platform accessible to all students, coaches, advisors, and professors at any and all campuses, a huge accomplishment from an IT perspective. And what it means for our students is even more impressive. SUNY Online allows students enrolled at any one campus to take online courses created at other campuses. When taken to scale in the next phase of the project, SUNY Online will bring the educational riches of the entire system to all of our students, a first of a kind for a comprehensive system of higher education in this country. In SUNY Online's pilot year, we introduced 20 new degree programs and created more than 100 micro-credentials that enable just-in-time learning for students who need immediate skills for a promotion or a new position. By SUNY at 75, we have set a goal to increase our exclusively online enrollment by 20,000 students. With the Tuition Assistance Program and the governor's budget proposing to expand Excelsior scholarships to families making up to $150,000, tuition is no longer an obstacle to pursuing higher education. This is a sea change, and at our community colleges, retention rates have doubled for Excelsior students, and they've also risen at our state-operated campuses as well. But tuition is not the only cost for college. There is also housing, food, transportation, books, and lost income. With SUNY Achieve, we do everything possible to alleviate our students' financial struggles. No student, for example, should have to choose between attending college and feeding themselves. So our task force on food insecurity ensures that every SUNY campus either has a food pantry on site or a partnership with an off-campus food pantry. And I'd like to give a shout out to Trustee Eunice Lewin for your leadership, and Trustee Austin Ostro for your leadership that made this happen. SUNY Achieve also has made a real commitment to reducing textbook costs with Open Education Resources, or OER, which are course materials that students can access for free or at very low cost. First piloted at SUNY Geneseo and managed by our system-wide Office of Library and Information Services, OER is now offered on 59 of our campuses. And over the past 3 years, it has saved SUNY students $47 million in textbook costs. And I'd like to give a special shout out to President Casey Crable of Onondaga Community College, whose unique cost-lowering Box of Books partnership with Barnes & Noble has been nominated for the Bellwether Award, recognizing innovative programs in community colleges nationally. SUNY Achieve is also addressing the fact that individuals with student loans who drop out without a degree are setting themselves up for hardship, taking on debt without the corresponding bump in salaries that goes to those who complete their education. With our Re-enroll to Complete program, we contact disenrolled students during the grace period before they have to pay back their federal loans. We offer them options for paying for college and for completing their coursework and remind them of the college completion dividend. When you tell somebody that if you only finish, you'll earn $1 million more over your lifetime of work, that is very persuasive. Over the past 2 years, we have brought back a remarkable 8,000 students. 220 have graduated. SUNY's wraparound services focus on student well-being in non-financial ways, too, with rising rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide among our youth. This year, we launched the SUNY Student Mental Health and Wellness Task Force, led by SUNY Oswego President Deborah Stanley and Downstate Health Sciences University President Wayne Riley, to help us understand the resources required to meet our students' mental health needs. In our individualized learning pillar, we are just as focused on the quality of a student education as on access and completion. Applied learning is a critical part of that quality. With internship and apprenticeship programs, we help students connect the dots between education in the classroom and real-world opportunities. Some of our campuses are long-time leaders in applied learning, such as Alfred State College, where 70% of their students participate in such experiences. And with 327 new employer partnerships established just this past year, other campuses are catching up, such as SUNY Morrisville, Farmingdale State College, and SUNY Potsdam. We intend to keep the momentum going on this front. Working in concert with New York State Department of Labor Commissioner Roberta Reardon, SUNY has secured $17 million in federal, state, and private funding for additional student internships and apprenticeships. We have found that these hands-on experiences lead to higher salaries after graduation. Compare the median wages of students graduating from Binghamton and Stony Brook who've had internships with those who haven't. Students majoring in business, management, or public administration are earning $8,000 more a year right out of college. In communications, visual, and performing arts majors, they're earning $16,000 more. And mathematics, computer, and information sciences, those majors are earning an amazing $23,000 more per year right out of college. Please join me in thanking our SUNY Achieve team for a year of amazing progress. These include Senior Vice Chancellors Todd Larson, Robert Megna, Johanna Duncan-Portier, Eileen McLaughlin, and our CIO, Brian Digman. As we answer our mission to be fully representative of a highly diverse state, we have a real challenge. It's hard for students to think that they can be it if they don't see it. When their professors include so few underrepresented minorities or women in STEM fields, you have to ask yourself, what can we do to change that too? So at last year's SOTUS, we launched Prodigy, promoting recruitment, opportunity, diversity, inclusion, and growth, to attract and develop 1,000 underrepresented faculty members and women in STEM by 2030. And with the leadership of Senior Vice Chancellor and Chief Diversity Officer Teresa Miller, and strong support from Governor Andrew Cuomo, the response from our campuses has been phenomenal. We have 100% participation from our doctoral universities and our comprehensive colleges. And as a result, system-wide, we have hired to date 74 women in STEM fields and underrepresented minority faculty, which is a great start. We're also building a robust pipeline to build a more diverse faculty of tomorrow through Prodigy Fellowships for late-stage doctoral students and postdocs, to give them the kind of support towards degree completion, as well as teaching experience at any one of our 13 comprehensive colleges. Because we want our students to see it at the very highest levels. And SUNY is committed to also diversifying its system and campus administrative leaders as well. This past fall, Governor Cuomo tapped University of Albany President Javidan Rodriguez to lead the SUNY Hispanic Leadership Institute, which offers professional development to mid to senior level Latinx and Hispanic academic leaders and managers. 2 Institute fellows have already been named to dean positions within SUNY. Innovation and entrepreneurship, that's the second pillar. The U.S. is at a critical juncture. Will we continue to be the international leader in research and development, or will we relinquish that mantle? We at SUNY know what it takes to maintain our preeminence in research. You need to attract talent, build on your strengths, collaborate convergently with great partners, and focus on problems that are important to society. In my first year as Chancellor, I set a goal of reaching $2 billion in annual research expenditures within 7 years, and we are well on our way to doing that. Our research expenditures system-wide exceeded $1.7 billion in fiscal year 2019, and sponsored research funding is up $136 million from the prior year. Binghamton University achieved a Carnegie R1 classification for the most research-intensive institutions for the first time this past year. The research being conducted by our faculty is extraordinary, regularly earning the highest national and international recognitions. For example, this past year, 18 of our early career faculty members received the prestigious National Science Foundation Early Career Award. And the state-funded SUNY Empire Innovation Fund helped attract them to the state of New York, giving us funds to help them with startup packages and to retain these remarkably talented faculty. And as mentioned earlier, this year we're so proud that Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded to our very own Dr. Stanley Whittingham, Distinguished Professor of Chemistry. I have to say that usually one doesn't like to get a text from a president at 6 a.m. in the morning, but on October 10th, I couldn't have been happier to hear from Harvey Stanger, who's here with us today. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Dr. Whittingham's contributions to the development of lightweight, energy-dense, and long-lived lithium-ion batteries. The first commercial lithium-ion battery unleashed a revolution in mobile communications and computing. There are now more mobile appliances connected to the internet than people living on Earth. But Dr. Whittingham invented his battery for a very different purpose. He wanted to move humanity beyond fossil fuels. First through electric vehicles, which is why the governor tapped him to lead a task force on increasing their adoption. And second, by potentially enabling storage for alternative energy sources. Today, lithium-ion batteries are key to integrating more renewable energy onto the electric grid. Making electricity available even when the sun isn't shining, the wind isn't blowing, and the snow isn't melting. And as you know, decarbonizing our electric power sector is our single best shot at staving off catastrophic climate disaster. We thank Dr. Whittingham for his pioneering work. And that's not all. At SUNY, our expertise in energy storage runs deep, which is why Stony Brook Advanced Energy Research and Technology Center, which includes National Medal of Technology Innovation awardee Dr. Esther Takeuchi, was chosen by the United States Department of Energy and the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority to lead the $41 million National Offshore Wind and Research Development Consortium. This is a public-private partnership designed to advance offshore wind technology and grid integration. My thanks to NYSERDA President and CEO Alicia Barton for making it possible for SUNY to take the lead on harnessing our offshore wind resources, which are critical for reaching our renewable energy goals and cutting carbon emissions worldwide. While we had a banner year for chemistry and material science, SUNY is also going to be accelerating its work in fundamental nuclear physics, pun intended. 2 weeks ago, on January 9th of 2020, the United States Department of Energy selected Brookhaven National Laboratory, which is co-managed by SUNY Stony Brook and Battelle, as the host for its multi-billion-dollar electron-ion collider. By crashing beams of electrons into beams of protons and atomic nuclei, this collider will probe the mysteries of the most powerful force in the universe, the strong force that holds nucleus of an atom together. SUNY will support this effort with joint faculty appointments from all our campuses with B&L, summer undergraduate research opportunities, again, for all our campuses, and an online entrepreneurship program that will help us to commercialize spin-off technology from the collider. SUNY researchers are also driving advances at the frontier of other emerging fields, such as quantum information science and engineering. The hottest area of research today in computing is quantum computing. Because they use quantum states which are more complex than ones and zeros of conventional computers, quantum computers are capable of performing calculations that would take years to complete, if not simply be impossible with today's supercomputers, such as rapid drug discovery, advanced logistics, and absolute cyber-secure computing and communications. This field is moving very fast. 5 to 10 years ago, some people thought that the reality of a quantum computer was not possible. But as Walt Disney said, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. This year, to advance research and development in quantum information science and artificial intelligence, we launched an open innovation campus at Griffiths International Airport, a collaboration between the Air Force Research Laboratory, Oneida County, the Griffiths Institute, and SUNY Poly. And with the federal government promising to invest $1.2 billion in quantum information science, 2 of our campuses recently received conceptualization awards from the National Science Foundation for the development of Quantum Leap Institutes. Those would be at Stony Brook University and the University of Buffalo. As we consider our strengths in research and innovation, we cannot leave out the entrepreneurs who are developed and supported by our campuses. Downstate Health Sciences Center is the founder and developer of the Downstate Biotech Incubator, home to 40 companies. 25 are part of the Governor's Startup New York program, making it the #2 in the state for most Startup New York companies. The 5-year impact is significant. Companies have raised $315 million, created 372 new jobs, and IPO'd 2 companies. And the beauty of SUNY's efforts to support entrepreneurs is that they reflect the wonderful variety of our campuses and of our state. This year, the American Association of State Colleges and Universities honored SUNY Cobleskill with its 2019 Excellence in Innovation Award for Regional and Economic Development for SUNY Cobleskill's groundbreaking Institute for Rural Vitality. The Institute uses faculty research, applied learning, and partnerships with local leaders to support innovations that align with the Mohawk Valley's revitalization goals. And as you might imagine, in this agricultural state, our innovators include people focused on one of my favorite subjects, food. In your gift bag, you will find products that reflect the creativity and entrepreneurship of our campuses. Students in this space include maple syrup produced by students at the SUNY College of Environmental Science and Forestry, maple popcorn from the Buck Hill Farm, a client of the SUNY Cobleskill Farm and Food Business Incubator, as well as 5 North chocolate. 5 North founder Ben Kennard, a 2016 graduate of SUNY Geneseo, was named by Fair Trade International as the #1 fair trade advocate in the world. He was also recognized as #1 in North America by Adecco in their CEO Challenge and placed top 10 worldwide. Ben's company, 5 North, is also the first packaged goods brand ever to feature the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce seal for its commitment to LGBTQ visibility. Ben, can I ask you to stand so that we can thank you for adding so much sweetness to our life? Where is Ben? And we educate a lot of innovators in the arts, including the winner of this year's Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, the cultural phenomenon known as Awkwafina, an honors graduate of the University of Albany. To encourage even more creativity and public engagement through the arts, we launched the SUNY PACC Prize for Performing Arts, Creation, and Curation for students enrolled in any one of the 64 SUNY campuses. This is a promise we made at last year's SOTUS, and I'm pleased to report today that spearheaded by Jennifer Larson, Senior Fellow for Arts and Humanities Policies at the Rockefeller Institute, the competition's proposal, pitch, and documentation process reflects what is required of artists and curators in their professional lives, so the contest itself is a great learning experience. Stay tuned for the announcement of the first winners. My third theme is sustainability. We owe it to our students to try to prevent our species from going the way of the dinosaurs. Absolute disaster is encroaching more quickly than even climate scientists expected, in the form of horrific wildfires, rising sea levels, inland flooding, and extreme weather of all kinds, crop failures, and a frightening rate of species extinctions. We work in this area too. Distinguished Professor James Gibbs of SUNY ESF, an expert in vertebrate conservation biology, has been working to keep a number of vulnerable species from vanishing, including the Galapagos giant tortoise and the Russian Mongolian snow leopard. Fortunately, our governor has been a leader on climate action, and in July, with the signage of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, New York State has enacted the most dynamic climate change legislation in the nation, directing us towards a net zero emissions economy by 2050 and 100% of the state's electricity produced from renewables by 2040. SUNY is already contributing to this goal and is on target to exceed them. Over the past 2 years, we have reduced our carbon emissions 24% to 39% relative to 1990 levels. So we are poised to surpass the New York State Energy Plan calling for a 40% reduction by 2030. Currently, we're negotiating a first-of-a-kind, large-scale renewable energy purchase of 150,000 megawatt hours for a consortium of 20 different colleges, 16 of them SUNY campuses. So 150,000 megawatt hours, most homes will use about 10 megawatt hours a year. So this is enough power to 100% provide electricity to 15,000 households in the state. By the end of SUNY at 75, and well ahead of the Climate Act's 2040 deadline, we have set a goal that 100% of SUNY's electricity will come from zero carbon resources. And while we decarbonize our electricity, in parallel, we're electrifying aspects of our operations today that require fossil fuels, including heating and cooling and transportation. Another important sustainability project is one of the first mass timber buildings in New York State at SUNY Maritime campus to house a $4 million ship simulator. Mass timber refers to a structural material made from engineered wood so strong that large multi-story buildings can be built with it. Mass timber is also so strong that these buildings don't need concrete and steel, which are responsible each for 5% of carbon emissions worldwide. Beyond that, the wood itself sequesters large amounts of carbon, which otherwise, when the wood decays, would go into the atmosphere. Here in New York State, where more than half of our land is timberland, mass timber is a self-evident building material and a new industry for all of us. And we at SUNY are proud to be leading the way. Overall, we are carrying out 400 energy-saving and greenhouse gas-reducing projects. And while campuses are doing amazing work, there is more to be done as SUNY leads by example. Of course, part of the solution to both environmental and educational sustainability is not wasting resources. My mother grew up in New York City during the Depression. We grew up hearing, want not, waste not. So we have to invest in our academic excellence, absolute inclusion, and universal access. By not wasting our resources, we will have the funding in order to invest more in those three elements. This year alone, we saved SUNY campuses $1.5 million in wholesale electricity purchases. Our managed print initiative set a goal to eliminate $25 million a year in printer, paper, and toner expenditures. And we are saving our campuses $89 million by refinancing their dormitory debt at historically low interest rates. My thanks to Senior Vice Chancellors Robert Halen, Eileen McLaughlin, and Associate Vice Chancellor Karen B. Donahue for all these achievements. In everything we do, including sustainability, we amplify our influence through partnerships that ensure that the next generation of transformative technologies are invented and developed right here in the state of New York. We joined forces this year with Empire State Development to bring Cree to the SUNY Poly Marcy Nano Center. Instead of expanding in North Carolina, where its headquarters sits, Cree is building the world's largest silicon carbide fab on the site where the Austrian chip maker pledged to build a fab but walked away in December of 2016. Fortunately, Governor Cuomo and ESD Chair Howard Zemsky had the foresight to continue to prepare the site, knowing that someday Cree would come to the state of New York. Thank you. Now, thank you for your investment of $1 billion in Marcy that will create 614 careers, as well as offer SUNY students more internships and more opportunities to get experience with this cutting-edge technology. You see, power systems based on wide bandgap semiconductor silicon carbide offer overall better performance, greater efficiency than today's systems based on silicon alone. And that could be the key to widespread adoption of electric vehicles, allowing vehicles to be charged more quickly and to go further on a single charge. Greg Lowe, the CEO of Cree, has said that in addition to the incentives offered by the state, two of the most important factors in the company coming to New York had to do with the engineering talent upstate, much of which SUNY educates, and the pilot manufacturing line in SUNY Poly in Albany. Clearly, if we want high-tech industries throughout the state, proximity to SUNY is key. SUNY's leadership in semiconductors is being solidified by other important partnerships as well. Applied Materials recently opened the $600 million Materials Engineering Technology Accelerator, or META Center, at SUNY Poly, where new chips designs are being developed for applications in artificial intelligence, virtual reality, the life sciences, and autonomous vehicles. And IBM is making major investments in New York State with the IBM Collaborative Research Alliance hosted at SUNY Poly for artificial intelligence-focused computer chip and research development. All in all, we launched this last year $5 billion in research and development investment in New York State. Thanks to the leadership of Senior Vice Chancellor Grace Wong, Dr. Doug Gross, CEO of SUNY Poly's new economic development arm, NY Creates, ESD Chairman Howard Zemsky, and ESD President and CEO Eric Gertler. Please join me in recognizing their great work. At SUNY, we have a mission that is both important and powerful. It is up to us to provide the people of New York educational services of the highest quality with the broadest possible access, fully representative of all segments of our population. Answering that mission means making choices every day that reflect our values and helping our students develop their own values. In a system designed to represent all New Yorkers, there is no room for bigotry of any kind. Everyone needs to feel respected and protected on our campuses. I am very proud of SUNY New Paltz, a college that dates back to 1828, for deciding through a very inclusive community process that it would no longer honor 6 slave-holding Huguenot founders of the town of New Paltz by having their names adorn campus buildings. I applaud. I applaud SUNY New Paltz President Don Christian for his courage and leadership. I'm also proud of the students at the University at Albany for realizing that a crude slur kicked in the snow and directed at Israel was not a policy position, but hate speech, and for pointing out that hate has no place on our campuses. However, students sometimes struggle with the distinction between hate speech and free speech. By refusing to allow conservative economist Arthur Laffer to deliver remarks at Binghamton University, student protesters demonstrated a fundamental misunderstanding of the role of universities, which is to encourage civil debate, not to quell it. As a society, we have not successfully addressed our greatest challenges, such as climate change and growing inequality, because in part, we can't even talk to each other. Our campuses must be places to change that dynamic, not reinforce it. So the Board of Trustees and I created a task force addressing safety, diversity, and inclusion to help us understand the changes we should make as a system to policies, training, and our response to incidents of bigotry. Respect for all is one of our values. Service is another. With SUNY Stands with Puerto Rico in the last year alone, we sent 500 students to help the people of Puerto Rico recover from Hurricane Maria. And we hosted, yes, let's have a shout out. And we hosted the first National RISE conference at the University at Albany. Universities from around the country came to the conference to consider the lessons learned from Puerto Rico about university engagement in disaster recovery. At SUNY, when we see suffering, we work very hard to find answers to address it. And in the city of Buffalo, we know that African Americans are in much poorer health, with 3 out of 5 African American residents dying prematurely, twice the rate of white residents, because of social factors, including poor access to health care. To help us figure out how to eliminate this disparity, the University of Buffalo has created a new Community Health Equity Research Institute that brings together community partners with faculty and students from 10 of its schools. As Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes pointed out at the launch, all of us, and I quote, deserve the chance to lead healthy and happy lives. And the UB Community Health Equity Research Institute is a major step towards that goal. So now it's time to ask, what's next? Our mission at SUNY demands that we meet the needs of both students and the state of New York. As we consider SUNY at 75, we need to recognize and anticipate where the state is heading. We know that the challenges for New York include climate change and the need for a clean energy workforce, workplaces being remade by people working alongside smart machines that do the routine part of their jobs while they concentrate on its more challenging aspects, A lot of careers will become much more interesting, but they'll require more knowledge for the humans in them too. The challenges also include the need to foster emerging industries and upscale communities that have lost middle-skilled jobs, the changing demographics in a state population that is now declining, and an aging population as well, one that will produce many non-traditional students. And kudos to Purchase College for creating a residential learning community on its campus for those 62 and older that enhances the classroom experience for both traditional and these non-traditional students. Through its research, education, and focus on economic development, SUNY can help New York turn these challenges into opportunities. We can help to remake upstate New York from the inside out by bringing the vitality of diversity to it in the form of students, faculty, and staff. And as upstate welcomes this talent and aligns with the nation, the majority of whose children are already minorities, we believe it will thrive economically and culturally. We can help New Yorkers acquire the skills employers require at scale by creating pathways for individual students that get them where they want to be in terms of career and salary. Right now, SUNY Upstate Medical University shows their incoming students exactly what they need to do to get credentials in particular fields and what salaries, mostly 6 figures, they will have when they graduate. And moving forward with SUNY's online common platform, we should be able to use AI and machine learning to help our students navigate the complexity of SUNY, pursue a degree that has matched their abilities and vision for their lives, and predict the kind of future a particular degree or credential can provide in terms of position, salary, and satisfaction. As we consider economic opportunity across the state, it's important to recognize that 54% of New Yorkers work at small businesses with fewer than 100 employees. One of the most important things SUNY can do is to train the next generation of entrepreneurs, particularly in and for our upstate counties. So SUNY is going to launch 2 new graduate-level programs to nurture entrepreneurial talent and retain them in New York State. The first will identify 100 high-potential rising SUNY seniors and offer them a scholarship to continue on to a master's degree in an area of their interest with an emphasis on entrepreneurship. And the second recognizes that many of the companies spinning out of our universities are founded or managed by graduate students and postdocs who often keep the startups close to the campus and close to their faculty mentors. So we intend to draw the very best doctoral students to our universities by creating our own version of the Rhodes Scholarships at Oxford or the Knight Hennessy Scholarships at Stanford, the Chancellor's Graduate Research Fellowships for the state of New York. We know that over 80% of SUNY alumni remain New York State residents after graduation. With these fellowships, we are engineering what Lieutenant Governor Hochul calls a brain gain. My wife, Veronica Meinhardt, and I so believe in helping graduate students who really struggle to make ends meet that we've made a contribution of $1 million to the SUNY Impact Foundation to start this fellowship fund. Thank you. And together we will energetically seek further philanthropy with the ultimate goal of funding more than 100 of such fellowships. We also will encourage these fellowship students and all our graduate students to take business classes, to find mentors and successful entrepreneurs, and to start companies based on their research outcomes. I began this speech by considering the influence of education on individual career prospects and what side of a growing health and wealth divide someone falls on. But when you think through statistics such as almost all the net job growth in the last 10 years were going to those with some form of higher education, they reveal the degree to which colleges and universities, particularly public systems of the size of SUNY, are woven into our American economy and society, and the degree to which higher education influences the vitality of the nation. The power of education is that it gives individuals who might otherwise be trapped by economic and social forces the choices that allow them to shape their own lives. But education transforms communities as well as individuals by creating a constant influx of talent that attracts existing businesses and seeds new ones. An education at the scale of SUNY can transform an entire state, helping it to lead in emerging industries and to invent new industries and to spread prosperity across the map to all its citizens. As we approach SUNY at 75, our goal is to use the power of learning and all the confidence and opportunity it creates to shape a more dynamic future for all New Yorkers in every distinctive part of our state. And we are well on the way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for attending the 2020 State of the University System. Please stop by our interactive displays downstairs to see how SUNY is shaping the future.